Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Today we will be discussing a poem titled Somebody's Mother. That is the second core text in the first module. The first core text is the story A Christmas Day in the Morning. And the second core text is this poem by Mary Dow Brine, which is titled Somebody's Mother. The picture that you see there is of the poet Mary Dow Brine. She lived from 1816 to 1913. She was an American poet, author, and lyricist. Lyricist is someone who writes lyrics for songs. Okay, someone who writes lyrics is called a lyricist. That is, words for songs, they are called lyrics. So she is a lyricist. And she has written a lot of poems. She has a number of poems to her credit, including Twilight on the Beach, Easter Lilies, and A Mother's Song. Among all her poems, this is the most favorite of everyone. The most widely read and the most appreciated of her poems is Somebody's Mother. And that is the poem that we are going to discuss today. If you look at poems, they have a particular structure. Yesterday we were talking of sentences and their structures. That is, there are 4 different types of sentences, and they have different structures. Poetry is marked by a difference in structure. Okay, it is a structure that makes all the difference between whether it is a poem or a prose passage. So the story that we read is a prose passage. That is Christmas Day in the Morning. അതൊരു prose passage ആണ്. But this is a poem. So what is the difference? Difference is in the structure of the language that is used. So poem has a different structure and therefore it is called a poem. Its structure is something that can be sung. We can sing a poem, can recite a poem, but you can only read a prose passage. മലയാളത്തിലെ പ്രോസിന് പറയുന്നത് ഗദ്യം എന്നാണ്, പോയത്തിന് പദ്യം എന്ന് പറയും. സോ ഗദ്യവും പദ്യവും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഭാഷയുടെ പ്രയോഗത്തിലാണ്. ഗദ്യത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാഷയിൽ നിന്ന് വളരെ വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ഭാഷാ ശൈലിയാണ് പദ്യത്തിൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. വാക്യഘടനയിലും വലിയ വ്യത്യാസമുണ്ട്. We talk of sentences in prose, but we do not say that it is a sentence in a poem. പ്രോസിലാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ സെൻറ്റൻസ് എന്ന് പറയും. സെൻറ്റൻസ്, വാചകം. Sentence is for prose. Okay, but what is for a poem? പോയത്തിനാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് പറയും? പ്രോസിനാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ സെൻറ്റൻസ് എന്ന് പറയും. What do you call for a poem? Very good, Rajalakshmi. Those group of lines are called stanzas. Okay. So the equivalent of a stanza in a prose passage is called a paragraph. Okay. In a prose passage, you have a paragraph, whereas in poem you have a stanza. A paragraph is made up of sentences. അതുപോലെ stanza is made up of lines. Okay. So instead of saying sentence, we say line. വരി എന്നാണ് പറയുക. That is the major difference in terminology, the terms that we use. So the difference in terminology is that in prose we call those utterances as sentences, whereas in poem they are called lines. And these group of sentences are called paragraphs in prose, whereas in the group of lines in a poem is called a stanza. And these stanzas are arranged in different formats. Sometimes you may have 2 lines in a stanza. Sometimes you may have 4 lines in a stanza, or sometimes even 6 lines in a stanza. That depends upon the style that is taken up by the poet. So the poet here has taken the style of writing 2 lines in each stanza. So let us read those those lines, those stanzas, and try to understand this poem, Somebody's Mother. It starts describing about a woman who is standing on the crossroads to cross the road. She wants to cross the road. It is a busy street, and she is trying to see the right time for crossing the road. So that is the situation in which the poem opens. So let us see what happens. Aishwarya, please read those lines. First lines. Aishwarya Ramprakash. These lines.
The woman was old and ragged and grey, and bent with the chill of winter's day. The street was wet with a recent snow, and the woman's feet were aged and slow. She stood at the crossing and waited long alone, uncared for amid the throng of human beings who passed her by, unheeding the glance of her anxious eyes.
Thank you, Aishwarya. So you can see this difference in structure, which is different from that of prose we saw in the first story. The woman was old and ragged and grey and bent with the chill of the winter's day. So there is a rhyming of the words grey and day, which is not something that we will find in prose. Prose അങ്ങനെ പ്രാസം ഒപ്പിക്കിച്ച് പറയുന്നത് ഒന്നുമില്ല. Here we have rhymes. Grey and day are rhyming. So the structure is different in poetry. Poetry gives a lot of importance to music. The language is slightly more musical than it is in prose. So the woman was old and ragged and grey and bent with the chill of the winter's day. The street was wet with a recent snow, and the woman's feet were aged and slow. So instead of saying that the woman is an old woman, she is an old woman, the poet says the woman's feet were aged and slow. So here it is, structure is different. One second, please stay online. ഹലോ, ഗ്രീൻ വാലിയിലെ സെക്കൻഡ് സ്ട്രീറ്റ്, വീട് നമ്പർ 32. Sorry for that interruption. So here we have this poem where the structure is very much musical. Instead of just saying that it is an old woman, ഒരു പ്രോസ് ആണ് പാസേജ് ആണെങ്കിൽ, ഒരു ഗദ്യമാണെങ്കിൽ അവരെപ്പോഴും അത് ഷീ ഈസ് എൻ ഓൾഡ് വുമൺ എന്ന് പറയും. But instead of talking of the woman as old, the poet here is saying that her feet was old. See, that is how the poet describes the woman. Her feet is old. Her feet is old means she is old. So that is how the poet describes the old woman. The woman's feet were aged and slow. So she is not able to walk like the other people. And because of that, she cannot run across the road. She has to wait for the right time so that the traffic is less. റോഡ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ചെറുപ്പക്കാർക്കൊക്കെ പെട്ടെന്ന് നോക്കിയിട്ടൊക്കെ ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. പ്രായമായിട്ടുള്ളവർക്ക് അവർക്ക് അത്ര വേഗം നടക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് they will have to wait. Isn't it? So even young people have to be very careful, but because they have a very strong body, they will be able to even run across the street. But that is not possible for this old woman. So because of that, what did she do? She stood at the crossing and waited long. See, there is a difference in structure also. In poem, the prose and poem have different structure. She stood at the crossing and waited long. Means what? If it is a prose, I will write in a different way. Here the syntax, we were talking about syntax and structure in the previous class. If it is written in prose, I will write it differently. How will I write it differently? I will type it in the chat box. If the same line is a sentence in prose, it will be written like this. Okay. She stood and waited long at the crossing. So this is a major difference when we write prose and poetry. Prose poetry എഴുതുമ്പോഴുള്ള ഒരു പ്രധാന വ്യത്യാസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് the word order is slightly altered, changed. The poet has the freedom to slightly alter the position of the words to get a poetic effect. There is no change in meaning between this sentence and the line in the poem. Meaning difference ഒന്നുമില്ല. നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ടൈപ്പ് ചെയ്ത പ്രോസ് സെൻറ്റൻസും പോയട്രിയിലെ ഈ ലൈനും തമ്മിൽ അർത്ഥത്തിൽ വ്യത്യാസമൊന്നുമില്ല. But there is a difference in effect. Which is more effective? There is a difference in effect. Which is more effective? She stood and waited long at the crossing ആണോ more effective? അതോ ഇതാണോ? She stood at the crossing and waited long. It is more effective, which has a good impression upon the listener. Which of these two? One is a sentence and the other is a line in a poem. But which is more effective? She stood and waited long at the crossing. She stood at the crossing and waited long. Yes, the line in the poem is more effective because of the structure. Okay, there is no difference in meaning. Meaning il difference ഒന്നുമില്ല. Meaning il difference ഇല്ലാതിരിക്കാൻ കാരണം it is just a change in word order which does not lead to any meaning change. Thank you for those responses. So it is the poetic effect that is generated by changing the word order. So if you also are interested in writing a poem, you can slightly alter a prose passage and create a poem also. So this is a technique that is used in creative writing, that you change the word order and it sounds poetic. Alone, uncared for, amid the throng. Amid means in the middle of. Throng means large group of people. Crowd is throng. Throng means crowd. Amid means in the middle of. So she is in the middle of the crowd, but she is alone. മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയും ആൾക്കൂട്ടത്തിൽ തനിയെ എന്ന്. ഒരുപാട് പേരുണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ അവർ ഒറ്റയ്ക്കാണ്. That is how it is in life also. There are many people around us, but sometimes we feel so lonely, so alone. So here, why is the poet telling that this lady is alone? When do you feel alone? Even when you are among a group of people. Have you felt alone when you are in a group? ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ ഇരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒറ്റയ്ക്കാണെന്ന് എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ? Yeah, thank you, Rajlakshmi, for that response. Exactly, yes. Thank you, Shrishma. Okay. When you don't get any attention from people, you feel alone. When people do not care for you, when people do not notice your presence, when people do not attend to your needs. So even you may be in the middle of the crowd, even you may be in the middle of the class, surrounded by so many people, yet you will feel alone. So that is why the poet says, uncared for. That is why she feels alone. Nobody is caring for her. പ്രായമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരാൾ റോഡിൽ നിന്ന് റോഡ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ nobody is caring. Nobody gives any attention to her. Therefore, she feels alone. So the reason for her feeling alone is that nobody is giving any attention to her. Nobody is giving any care for her. That is why she is feeling alone. And the next two lines are actually a continuation of these lines. Amid the throng. Amid the throng means in the middle of the crowd. Crowd of what? Crowd of human beings. അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു കണ്ടിന്യൂഷൻ പോലെയാണ് അടുത്ത ലൈൻസ് വരുന്നത്. So among these human beings who are a crowd, who are passed her by means to pass by is a phrase, means to കടന്നു പോവുക. Pass by. കടന്നു പോവുക. റോഡിൽ കൂടെ നടന്നു പോകുന്നവരെ പാസേഴ്സ് ബൈ എന്ന് പറയും. യാത്രക്കാർ, കാൽനട യാത്രക്കാർ, കോൾഡ് പാസേഴ്സ് ബൈ. കടന്നു പോകുന്നവർ, വഴി കൂടെ നടന്നു പോകുന്നവർ. So they are passers by. So the people who pass by this lady, they are not giving her any attention. These people who are walking by on the street, they do not give her any attention. So the lady is unattended by these human beings. Unheeding means not giving any attention to. Unheeding. The glance. Glance means look. So her anxious eyes, there is anxiety in her. Anxiety. മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്താണ് anxiety? The woman is anxious. She has anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഉത്കണ്ഠ. യെസ് രാജലക്ഷ്മി. ഉത്കണ്ഠ, ആശങ്ക, അതൊക്കെയാണ് ആങ്സൈറ്റി. സോ എന്താണ് അവരുടെ ആങ്സൈറ്റി? എന്താണ് അവരുടെ ഉത്കണ്ഠ? എന്താണ് അവരുടെ ആങ്സൈറ്റി? എനിക്ക് റോഡ് ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ബിക്കോസ് vehicles are passing through the road. She is an old woman. And the poet has already mentioned in one of the lines that her feet is slow. She is old. The atmosphere is cold. It is a cold winter. So she is unable to move. She is worried. She is anxious whether she will be able to cross the road. So there are many people there, but these people are not caring for this old woman. They are passing her by without giving any attention to her. Unheeding means not giving any attention. And so when these people are not giving her any attention, at that time, another group comes. And this group is a group of children. And these children react in a totally different manner from other people. Okay, the other people on the street do not give any attention, but this is a different group. And they come and see the woman. Even among this group, many may not give any attention to this old woman. So let us see what these group of people who come, who are these people, what are they doing, etc. Down the street. Okay, Sharmili, please read those lines.
Down the street with laughter and shout, glad in the freedom of came the boys like a flock of sheep, hailing the snow piled white and deep. Past the woman so old and grey, hastened the children on their way. None offered a helping hand to her, so meek, so timid, afraid to stir.
Thank you, Sharmili. Down the street with laughter and shout, glad in the freedom of school let out, came the boys like a flock of sheep. You can see the difference in structure here also. Suppose it is written in prose, I will write it like this. The boys this will be the structure if it is written in prose. The boys came down the street like a flock of sheep. Prose ആണെങ്കിൽ ഗദ്യമാണെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇത്. പക്ഷെ ഇത് പദ്യമാണ്, കവിതയാണ്. കുട്ടികൾ വന്നു എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് പകരം വന്നു കുട്ടികൾ എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ തന്നെ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഇഫക്റ്റ് മാറി, ഒരു കവിത പോലെ, ഒരു പാട്ട് പോലെയായി. വന്നു കുട്ടികൾ എന്ന് പറയും. കുട്ടികൾ വന്നു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പദ്യമല്ല, ഗദ്യമായി. പക്ഷെ വന്നു കുട്ടികൾ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അത് പദ്യമായി മാറി. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഹൗ ദി സിൻടാക്സ്, ദി ചേഞ്ച് ഇൻ സിൻടാക്സ് creates a poetic effect. Came the boys like a flock of sheep. Okay, the boys came like a flock of sheep എന്നല്ല, came the boys like a flock of sheep. So down the street, from top of the street, they are walking down with laughter and shout. So little children who study in school, they will be very noisy. They will create a lot of noise. Even in the classroom, you look at smaller classes, children will be creating a lot of noise. They will be talking, they will be fighting with each other, quarreling, shouting. They will be creating a lot of noise. But when you grow up, when you have become grown-up children, when you pass into adolescence age like this, now you are all silent. Even when I ask you something, you are not willing to say anything, isn't it? That is the difference between children and grown-up people. Children are very innocent. But as we grow up, we tend to become more and more silent, mostly because people always ask us to keep quiet. So these children are asked from their childhood itself to keep quiet, keep quiet. So when they grow up, they become completely quiet. All the noise that they used to create in their childhood is shut out when they become adults. But here these boys, they are small children. How are they coming? They are coming with a lot of laughter and shout. Why are they happy? Why are they happy? The reason is in the second line. Down the street with laughter and shout. Why are they glad? Why are they glad? Why are they happy? School let out. Very good. They are coming back from school. നമുക്ക് ക്ലാസ് കഴിയുമ്പോഴാണ് സന്തോഷം. സ്കൂളിലേക്ക് പോകുമ്പോഴല്ല സന്തോഷം, തിരിച്ചു വരുമ്പോഴാണ് സന്തോഷം. സ്കൂളിലേക്ക് പോകുമ്പോൾ സങ്കടമാണ്. You are very sad when you are going to school because you have to sit in the class, you have to listen to the classes, you have to do a lot of work. But when the class is over at 4 o'clock or 4:30, you are happy. And these children, they are all enjoying because the school has finished for the day. So it is evening. It is a winter evening. And these boys are coming back from school. And how are they coming? They are coming like a flock of sheep. If you have observed sheep, they always move in groups. ആടുകൾ പോകുന്നുണ്ടാവും, ഒക്കെ വേറെ വേറെ പോവില്ല, എല്ലാം ഒരുമിച്ച്. ഒരു കൂട്ടം ആടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതെല്ലാം ഒരുമിച്ച് ഒരു ഭാഗത്ത് കൂടെ പോകും. അതിൽ ഒരെണ്ണം മാറി എങ്ങോട്ട് വന്നാൽ ബാക്കിയെല്ലാം അങ്ങനെ മാറി വരും. They move about in what is called as tight formation. അങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിനെ വിളിക്കുക. അങ്ങനെ ഒരുമിച്ചൊരു ഗ്രൂപ്പായിട്ടാണ് പോകും. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ കുട്ടികൾ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾക്കും കാണാൻ പറ്റും. സ്കൂളിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ പുറത്ത് പോയി നിന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you can see how these children move about in tight formation like a flock of sheep. Came the boys like a flock of sheep. The boys came like a flock of sheep എന്നാണ് അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം. Hailing means throwing. The snow piled white and deep. So in colder nations, especially in European countries, winters are very cold. The atmospheric temperature goes below 0 degrees. And what happens? Instead of rain, you will have snowfall. And the street will be filled with white colored snow. It is a very beautiful sight. മനോഹരമായ കാഴ്ചയാണ്. പക്ഷേ it is a very cold atmosphere. Many people may not be tolerate so much cold. ഇടയ്ക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും വിസിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്ന പോലെയല്ല, അവിടെ താമസിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ആ അറ്റ്മോസ്ഫിയർ ചിലപ്പോൾ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടില്ല, കാരണം താങ്ങാനാകാത്ത തണുപ്പാണ്. But these children, these boys are enjoying because there is a lot of snow on the street and they are throwing this snow at each other. പരസ്പരം അത് ഈ വീണ മഞ്ഞെടുത്ത് പരസ്പരം എറിഞ്ഞ് കളിക്കുകയാണ്. They are hailing the snow piled white and deep. Piled means അടുക്കി വെച്ചത്. So the snow has piled up on the street. because of heavy snowfall, snow has piled upon the street, and the boys are throwing the snow at each other. And these boys also are moving past the woman. നേരത്തെ നമ്മൾ crowd passed by എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ the children passed. One second. അതെന്തോ സൗണ്ടിന്റെ പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അത് സാർ എന്തായാലും ഇത് വെബെക്സ് യൂസ് ചെയ്തോളൂ. കാരണം ഗൂഗിൾ മീറ്റിൽ 100 സാർ അതെനിക്കൊന്ന് അയച്ചാൽ മതി കേട്ടോ. ശരി സാർ. ഓക്കെ സാർ. ഓക്കെ സാർ. താങ്ക് യു. Okay, sorry for that interruption. So these boys, these children, they are coming, they are moving past the woman, just as the people moved past the woman, the passers-by moved past the woman. These boys are also moving past the woman. They passed by the woman. Past the woman, so old and grey, hastened the children. Hastened. Haste. means തിരക്കാണ്, haste. തിരക്ക് പിടിച്ചു പോവുക. Hastened. These boys moved in a fast manner because they are hurrying to reach their home. So they are moving in a very haste manner. They hastened the children past the woman. എന്നാണ്. The children hastened past the woman. ഇതൊരു prose passage ആണെങ്കിൽ it will be written like this. The children hastened past the woman എന്നാണ് എഴുതുക. Okay. So that is the meaning of the sentence. These lines. Past the woman, hastened the children. So what is the woman is described also as old and gray. Gray is the color of old age. So her face, her hair, all are gray in color. So that the oldness of the lady is focused here, is given more importance here by the poet, by saying that the woman is so old and gray. None offered a helping. No one offered, and nobody offered any help to her. And what the lady is described again as meek. Meek means it is the opposite of ferocious. A lion is said to be ferocious, but a deer is said to be meek, very soft in behavior. Timid means without courage. She doesn't have any courage. Afraid to stir. Stir means to move. Why is she afraid to move? She is afraid to move because she is an old woman. And if she crosses the road without taking precautions, what will happen? She may be trampled by the vehicles that are passing on the street. So that is why she is feeling afraid to move. And nobody gave any helping hand to her. Even though she is so meek and so timid and afraid to move. Why is she afraid to move? So that is described in the next few lines. Why is she afraid to move? She is afraid to move because if she moves without any care, she will be trampled by the carriage wheels, by the vehicles which are there on the road. So if she is not careful, she will be trampled by the vehicles which are moving on the road. Diya, please read the next few lines. Okay, Bhavana NS.
Yes, sir.
Please read.
Lest, lest the carriage wheels or the horse feet should crowd her down in the slippery street. At the last came one of the merry troop, the gayer lady of all the group. He paused beside her and whispered low, I will help you cross if you wish to go. Her aged hand on his strong young arm she placed and saw, without hurt or harm, he guided the trembling feet along, proud that his own were firm and strong.
Thank you, Bhavana. Lest the carriage wheels or the horse's feet should crowd her down in the slippery street. Crowd her down here means trample her down, മെതിച്ചു പോകുക, ചവിട്ടി മെതിച്ചു പോകുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So it is a slippery street. Why is the street slippery? Because of snowfall. So if she falls down on the street and the vehicles pass through her, അങ്ങനെ സംഭവിച്ചാലോ എന്നാണ്. Lest means that, lest indicates possibility. Lest, L-E-S-T, lest indicates possibility. Lest the carriage wheels or the horse's feet, because there are horses also moving through the street. Horse carriages ഉണ്ട്, കുതിരവണ്ടികളുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ കുതിരയുടെ കാലും എൻ്റെ മേത്ത് വീഴാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ട് if I fall down on the street. And that is why she is afraid. So it is a continuation. Why is she meek? Why is she timid? Why is she afraid to move? She is afraid to move because it is possible that she may fall down on the street and be trampled by the carriage wheels or the horse's feet. And at that time came from the merry troop. Who is the merry troop here? Merry means happy. Which is the happy troop, happy group here? ഇവിടെയുള്ള happy group ആരാണ്? Happy group ആരാണ്? Merry troop means happy group. Who is the happy group here? The students. Very good, Rajashmi. The children who are coming back. Yes, Nandana. The children who are coming back from school. They are the happy group here. Even they are not giving any attention. Yes, they are not giving any attention to the old woman. But from among them, there is one boy, the gayest laddie. Laddie means lad. Lad means child. Okay, a boy. That's the meaning of lad. Lady എന്നല്ല അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം. It is laddie. Laddie means lad. Lad എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ child, a boy എന്നാണ് അർത്ഥം. So gayest laddie means, gay means happy. So he was the happiest among those boys. The boys are all happy, but this boy is the happiest among them. He came forward. He came towards this old woman. He came and stopped, paused beside her, near her. Beside means near her. And said, I will help you to cross the road if you want to go. I will help you cross if you wish to go. And what does he do? He does not just ask her to cross the road. He holds her hand. He puts her hand on his hand. Her aged hand on his strong young arm she placed. Means she placed her arms in the hands of the boy. So this is a sentence in prose, but those are lines in a poem. That's the difference, but the meaning is the same. She placed her arms in the hands of the boy, and so she is protected because the boy is also walking along with her. He guided the trembling feet. Trembling, വിറയ്ക്കുന്ന കാലുകൾ. ആരുടെയാണ് വിറയ്ക്കുന്ന കാലുകൾ? Of the old woman. The old woman's legs are trembling. And the boy guided her feet, because he is a strong young boy. He is able to take her, cross her. She is able to help her cross the road. And the boy is not an ordinary boy. Okay, so he, after guiding the lady back, guiding the lady to cross the road, he comes back to his friends and he tells them something. വെറുതെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് മിണ്ടാതിരിക്കുകയല്ല. He comes and tells his friends something. So let us see what he tells his friends. Neeraja KK, please read.
Then back again to his friends she went, his young heart happy and well content. She's somebody's mother's boss, for all she's agreed and poor and slow. And I hope some fellow in lend a hand to help my mother, you understand. If ever she's poor and oldie and grave and her own dear old boy is far away.
Thank you, Neeraja. So he, after helping the old woman, then back again to his friends he went. Means he went back to his friends. And പോയട്രിയും പ്രോസും തമ്മിലുള്ള ആ സ്ട്രക്ചറിന്റെ വ്യത്യാസമാണത്. Back again to his friends he meant means he went back to his friends. പോയട്രിയിലെ ലൈൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ then back against to his friends he went എന്ന് പറയും. ഇതൊരു സെന്റൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ, പ്രോസിലെ സെന്റൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ he went back again to his friends എന്ന് ഒരു പ്രോസ് സെന്റൻസ് ആണ്. So he goes back to his friends and he is happy and well content. When you do any good deed, a good act, you feel happy. നല്ലത് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് സന്തോഷം തോന്നും. That is why he is feeling happy. And he tells his friends something. Why does he has to tell his friends? Because they did not move. They did not take any step towards helping this old woman. So he tells them, see, like you have a mother at home. You have a mother at home. Each one of you has a mother at home who you love. You love your mother, isn't it? Like that, she is also somebody's mother. See? Look at the kind of advice that comes from the mouth of this young boy. She is somebody's mother. That is what this boy tells his friends. Like you have a mother at home, she is somebody's mother. She may be an aged woman. Okay, she may be an aged woman. She may be poor. You may be very rich, but the lady is very poor. She may be slow. Maybe your mother is not so old like this old woman. Okay, your mother may be younger, she may be faster. So you are not able to relate with her. Here, this old woman is an old woman. She is slow. Why are you not able to think of her as your own mother? Because your mother is very young. She is very smart. She is very fast. But what does he say? Look at what he says. He says, she may be aged. But you must remember that your mother will also one day become old. Your young mother, who is very fast, who is very active, will one day become old. Then you will realize, it may be too late then, but then you will realize that the mother I saw on the street was also like my own mother. So what does this boy say? He says, like I helped this old woman on the street, some fellow will lend a hand to help my mother. You understand? He's asking, do you understand what I am saying? The boy is asking the other boys, are you able to follow what I am saying? Do you understand what I am saying? What does he ask? Why does he ask that? Because he says, somebody will help my mother like I helped this old woman. See, good deeds come back to you. When you do good deeds, they come back to you. If you do bad deeds, they also will come back to you. That is a theory of action and reaction. So here, the boy says, like I helped this old woman, somebody will help my mother when I am not there. See, that is a very important point. When my mother becomes old, when she becomes poor, when I am not there. See, now you are all with your parents. You are living with your parents. When you get a job, you may have to go somewhere. So you cannot always go on caring for your parents. then somebody else has to take care of them. So this old woman situation is also like that. She may also have a son, she may also have a family, but at the moment they are not there to help her. So we have to do the help. We have to think that she is also like my own mother. So that kind of feeling, that kind of understanding, that kind of right understanding has to develop. Then we will feel so much happiness. Most of our problems are because of the lack of such understanding in us. So this is how this boy is trying to create. Its understanding can be transferred. It is not that you cannot transfer an understanding to others. You can transfer an understanding. So this is a very good method by which this boy is trying to transfer the understanding to the other boys. That like I helped this old woman, somebody else will help my mother when she becomes old and gray. When her own dear boy, who is her own dear boy, who is my mother's dear boy, her own dear boy is far away. He himself, very good Rajalakshmi, the boy himself, the speaker himself, the boy himself, when he is not there, somebody else will care for my mother. Because I have done a good deed today, this deed will come back to me from somebody else. ഇപ്പം നമ്മളൊരാൾക്ക് നല്ലത് ചെയ്താൽ അവർ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ച് നല്ലത് ചെയ്യണമെന്നില്ല. It comes from different areas. The good of the world does not go away from you. If you give good to somebody, it will come from somewhere else. അതാണ് അതിന്റെ ബ്യൂട്ടി. ഒരേ ആളുടെ നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ചു കിട്ടുന്നതിൽ there is no fun in it. So it will come from somewhere else. So like that, somebody else will come help my own mother. And then the last 4 lines. So this is what the boy tells the other boys, and the last few lines are about what the feelings of the mother, this old woman who crossed the road. What did she feel? I request Christina to read that. Christina Shaji.
Hello.
Yes, read.
And somebody mother bowed low her head in her home that night, and the prayer she said was, God be kind to nobody boy, who is someone's son and pride and joy.
Yes, thank you, Christina. Somebody's mother bowed low her head. So she was saying her prayer that night when the boy helps this mother, the old woman. She is bowing low her head, and she prays. And what does she pray? She prays for this boy. What kind of a boy is he? He is a noble boy. He is a noble boy. She says he is somebody's son and pride and joy. So the old woman feels that this boy surely must be the pride of his parents, because he has this helping heart. Yeah, helping heart. If you have a helping heart, you become the pride of your parents. Your parents will be proud to have you as a child, because people will say good things about you. Your child is so helping, so good-hearted person. So that is why this old woman, she is praying for this boy. So your good deeds will never be forgotten. People will be thankful to you. They will be grateful to you. They will remember you in their prayers. What more can you ask for yourself? Somebody prays for you in there, somebody includes you in their prayers, surely you will not get destroyed. You will be protected at all times. So this is what the boy also benefits. He did a small act of kindness, but for that, this old woman is praying for him at night. When she is praying before going to bed, she is praying that this boy is a noble boy. It's not an ordinary boy. The boys are in plenty. There are hundreds of children. But who is a noble boy? Udattamaya. Noble എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഉദാത്തമായ. ഈ കുട്ടി എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഉദാത്തമായ കുട്ടിയാവുന്നത്? ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് your appearance, it is your action, deeds, noble deeds make you a noble person. It's not the kind of dress that you wear or your appearance or your face, nothing. It is your action, how you behave with others. That is what makes us noble. So the old woman describes this boy as a noble boy because he did a noble deed, noble action, act of kindness. And therefore she says, he is somebody's son. Like the boy talked about the mother as somebody's mother. He is somebody's son. Like I have a son. The old woman must be thinking, I have a son. He is also somebody's son. Because that is why he felt that I am somebody's mother. So this kind of feeling of love and relationship is continued in this poem also, the second text, because the general theme of this module is bonds of love, that is relationship. So this bonds of love, here in this poem, it is, we are asked to extend our feelings of love and relationship to outside also. മറ്റേതൊരു ഫാദറും സണ്ണും തമ്മിലുള്ള റിലേഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു നമ്മൾ ആ സ്റ്റോറിയിൽ പഠിച്ചത്. പക്ഷെ ഇവിടെ ആ ഒരു ഫീലിംഗ് ഓഫ് ലവ് ആൻഡ് റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് നമ്മൾ പുറത്തേക്കും കൂടെ എക്സ്പാൻഡ് ചെയ്യണം, അല്ലാതെ ഒരു കുടുംബത്തിനുള്ളിലല്ല ചുരുങ്ങേണ്ടത്. ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ടു ഗോ ഔട്ട് ടു അതേഴ്സ്. യു മസ്റ്റ് ഫീൽ ഫോർ ദ സഫറിങ് ആൻഡ് പെയിൻ ഓഫ് അതേഴ്സ്, ആൻഡ് ഓൺലി ദെൻ യു ബിക്കം എ noble human being. So that is the message of the poem. The recitation of this poem, you can, if you're interested, you can watch a recitation of this poem on YouTube. I am pasting the link in the chat box. The poem is, there is also an animated visuals also along with the recitation of the poem. You can just watch and listen. So we will continue, so that brings us to the end of the poem. We will continue with this module in the next class. So thank you for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.